Here are a few application questions for us to do together. Our first question has to do with choosing between two different routes going from Clayton to Oakley. One of them goes through the mountains, and so you're going to go much slower at 40 miles per hour, but the trip is 120 miles total. If you choose to skip the mountain and sort of drive around the mountain instead, you're going to go much faster, 60 miles per hour, because you're on highways, though the trip is now longer at 180 miles. So the question is, which route would take less time? Not less gas, but less time. So if I'm trying to figure out over the 120 miles going 40 miles per hour, I need to know how many hours that took. You can do this in a couple of different ways. You can say, well, for the first hour, I went 40 miles. And for the next hour, I went 40 miles, so that's 1 hour. At 2 hours, I've now gone a total of 80 miles. At 3 hours, I go another 40 miles, so that's the total of 120, so 3 hours. The easier way, of course, is to take 120 and divide it by 40, which also gives me 3. And so the first trip takes 3 hours. Now, if I'm going to use the highways instead, I now have 180 miles divided by the 60 miles per hour. And I find that 180 divided by 60 is also 3 hours. So in terms of time, they're both going to take me the same amount of time, even though going through the town would obviously be harder on my car because there's more miles. So all things considered, I'd probably go through the mountains. Next question, you have a car you want to purchase for $15,000. You have some money for a down payment, but you need to borrow the rest because you don't have enough. Your parents are very, very nice and are giving you a no interest loan, so you're just paying back whatever you borrow from them. So if you repay the loan over 3 years, what will your monthly payments be? So let's start with the fact that the car costs $15,000, but you're paying $4,200 for the down payment. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the $4,200 because I want to know how much money am I borrowing from my parents. Subtract to get 0, subtract to get 0. This one I obviously would have to borrow. 10 minus 2 is 8. 4 minus 4 is 0. 1 minus nothing is 1. So $10,800 would represent the amount borrowed. So we're just going to go step by step through this, the amount borrowed. Now I am going to repay the loan over 3 years, and I want to know my monthly payments. So often students would take the $10,800 and divide it by 3 and say that that's their solution. Now, no, if I did that, that would be finding out how much I'm paying each year. Instead, I want to know monthly payments. So in 3 years, with 12 months per year, I have a total of 36 months. So to find the monthly payment, I'm going to have to take 10,800 and divide it by 36. And we've just worked on long division. So let's see how we do. 36 doesn't go into 1 or into 10, but it goes into 108. I'm going to guess 3 times. So let's say 36 times 3. That would give me an 8. Carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So good guess. 3 times 36 is 108. I subtract, I get 0. Bring down the 0. Nope, doesn't work. Bring down the next 0. Nope, it doesn't work. And so my answer is 300. So my monthly payments would be $300. Again, make sure that you're writing that sentence or make sure that you're labeling your solution. Our last application we'll practice together is the multiple operations dealing with the perimeter of a garden. So I have a rectangular garden. So here's the blueprint of my house, or the footprint of my house. I have a fence on all sides of this garden except this one because I have it butted up against the side of my house. I really don't have a garden because I don't have a green thumb. You get the idea. I am now trying to find how much fencing I'm going to need and therefore the total cost of that fencing. So if it's rectangular, that means that if this side is 10, this side is also 10. So 10 feet, 10 feet, and 11 feet. So my total fencing would be the 10 plus the 11 plus the 10, which gives me 31 feet of fencing. They're not asking for how much fencing, they're asking for the total cost of fencing. So if fencing cost $3 per foot, and I have 31 feet, I would then multiply 31 by 3. Again, you can certainly write 31 times 3 this way. That would give me 3 and 9. And so my total cost is $93. Again, it's a story problem, so I would write the sentence that said the fencing would cost $93.